Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I just finished moving today, and so this is my new place that I'm in and I am a complete mess. Look at me, I'm like sweating and my hair is a mess. It's fine. Everything's great. In this video I wanted to kind of speak to you about health and a little bit about the culture in Bali. I've been kind of thinking about it a bit, and it's not all of what Bali and health is all about, but I wanted to share a few tidbits about how Balinese people look at health and how they perceive it, how they use it, how they deal with illnesses, things like that. Things what I've learned from observation and also from conversations with Balinese people and with other friends. And so one of the things that I learned when I started learning Bahasa, which is their language here, Bahasa Indonesia, which means Indonesian language. Bahasa means language. When I started studying Bahasa, which is the language of Indonesia, the Balinese people have their own specific language. But I'm studying Bahasa because it's more well accepted all over. It's like Hindi, where it's just the dialects that you have in each of the little states that in India. It's the same kind of idea. And so I'm studying it, and one of the things that my teacher was telling me is that when Indonesian people ask each other, or Balinese people ask each other, how are you doing? The answer or the reply usually is, I'm healthy, sahat, which is healthy. So saya sahat or aku sahat, which means I'm healthy. And so I thought that was really interesting, and then she said a little bit that Balinese people or Indonesian people really care about health. It's really important. It's more important than anything else. So when you are answering the question, how are you? You want to tell people, I'm healthy. I'm doing well. Everything's fine. And I thought that was a really good way to kind of answer people when they ask you, how are you doing? And you say, I'm healthy. I think that's like the best answer ever. Like, who cares about everything else? Who cares about what you bought yesterday or how are you doing, things like that. I want to know if you're healthy, if you're happy, right? So that I thought was really, really nice. And then even though there has been a lot of appropriation by expats coming in, or other foreigners coming in and kind of using Balinese health techniques and then kind of marketing it as their own, or using it and selling it for exorbitant amounts, Balinese culture really is about health, and they do a lot of natural healing techniques in order to make themselves whole again or complete again, right? And obviously they use a lot of massage, so Balinese massage is very, very common. There's also a lot of healers on the island that will do things even for a broken bone, or for menopause, things like that. They have all of these medicinal plants that they use. And interestingly enough, when in the village, at least in the village areas, when you have a broken bone, instead of going to the hospital, you go to the healer and he cracks your bone somehow and he puts it back into place somehow, or he does some kind of technique. I don't know, I've never experienced it. Sounds painful, but they do something, and that's how they deal with broken bones. They don't go to the doctor, they don't get screws put in, or they don't put in like a cast or anything like that. They go to the local healer and he heals you. I'm not sure how it works exactly. Also, I've never gone to a healer in that manner before, so I don't know how it actually is, but that's what they are prone to do. And I've heard horror stories actually about the hospitals here, so I'm not sure. Like, I'm sure they're great. I've never experienced it, but I have heard stories from other people who say that they didn't have the best experience, and it might be because the hospitals are basically built for either like the higher class people, or who have the money to pay for things, or expats or foreigners, and most of the local people are actually going to local healers, the healers in their village, or they're using medicinal plants in order to heal themselves. And it's really fascinating to me because I've gotten into medicinal plants now. I was never into them before. I mean, I did I ate turmeric and things like that, things that we eat in India. But I'm kind of getting a lot into it now, and I'm really realizing how Bali is, or maybe it's just in general everywhere in the world, but particularly here, because the places that I've been to, they haven't developed them that much. So there's a lot of growth and a lot of vegetation, and you will see, I've learned a lot about medicinal plants, and I'll be walking around and I'll see everywhere, just all around me, just growing profusely without anyone taking care of them, just medicinal plants all over. Tropical plants that you can use, like a tropical plant there that you can use to heal your menopause symptoms, or a tropical plant there that you can use to cure malaria, another tropical plant there that you can use to cure dengue. It's just insane how I'll just be walking around and it's just everywhere, just all around me. I don't even have to do anything. I can just walk up outside, just go anywhere, and I'll be able to notice a medicinal plant outside. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It might be a tropical thing. I don't know if that's it, or it's just the fact that it hasn't been developed that much. Also, my friends tell me that in the past they actually built it that way. So they would plant all these medicinal plants all around the community, so everyone, whoever needed access to these plants, would have them. They would just have to walk outside their door and they would be able to pick a plant that's good for whatever ailment they have. And so they kind of planned it that way. Of course, now it's kind of being demolished a bit because, you know, people are building over all of these communities and things like that, but there's still a lot of medicinal plants everywhere. You'll just walk around, and if you're anything knowledgeable about it, which I am minusculely knowledgeable about it, but you know, even with my minuscule knowledge, I can walk around and notice so many plants that are so good for you, just growing just like that, and I'll just be able to pick them and eat them. It's so easy and it's amazing. Not only plants, but also lots of flowers. You'll walk around and you'll see flowers that that are edible and good for you. So I'm constantly picking things and I'm constantly eating them when I'm walking around, because it's just there. It's just there for the taking. And you know, so I was thinking, like, it's just literally the earth here. I don't know, I didn't feel that much in Canada, but I wasn't really that aware of it at that point. I'm sure it's like that in Canada and everywhere else if you're aware of it, but I became aware of it here in Bali. And so, you know, I'm just so grateful and so immensely just surprised by the abundance of healing modalities, healing plants that are all around us. They're just waiting there, doing their thing, and you can just pick them and make tea out of them or whatever you want to do with them, make smoothies. And not that I'm saying that you completely heal yourself, but there's a lot of things that you could potentially heal in your body. And that's just, when I think about it, it literally blows my mind. I know that you're probably thinking it's not such a big deal, but for me, just the idea that you don't actually have to, not that I'm saying you never rely on pharmaceuticals again, but the fact that you can just walk outside your door, pick a couple of plants, make a smoothie out of it or make a tea out of it, drink it, and potentially heal something is just astounding to me. It just makes me feel like we're living in a completely different dimension right now. I even actually did that when I had COVID. I was carrying a sambiloto, which is a bitter medicinal tropical tea, with me. It's a plant that grows here very easily, and so I had the tea just like that because I was drinking it because one of my teachers recommended it, and I had it when I was traveling. And when I got COVID, I drank sambiloto like it was my business, and I drank it every day. That was the only thing I drank for the first 7 days, and I think a lot of the reason why I healed so well and why I felt so good after, why I felt like my body had a reset, was because I drank so much sambiloto. It probably was like a detox for me, cleansing me from everything inside of me. It just cleaned me out. And so it's just brilliant, you know. It was just a tea. I had a little packet of it, and I finished it I finished the whole packet while I was there in quarantine for 10 days. And I'm so grateful. It was just the bounty of nature. It's just handed to you, just given to you. You drink it and you heal yourself. It just makes me feel so powerful. And considering that there's so much powerlessness in the world right now, I really feel like this is one of those things that you can just really grab onto. At least I have been grabbing onto and saying, okay, I want to feel powerful again. I'm going to use the abundance that is around me on this island in Bali and use all of these beautiful plants that are just growing just randomly, and drink them, eat them, and make sure that I take care of myself that way. And that's what a lot of Balinese people do as well. I mean, little by little, unfortunately, that knowledge is being dissipated and it is disappearing, unfortunately, just like how it happens everywhere in the world. But and so that's unfortunate, of course, but a lot of them are still aware of the fact that there are these plants out there, and they will still use them in some of them only use them in their ceremonies, which is unfortunate, but a lot of them will use them in their daily preparation of food or in, you know, making tea or whatever else they're doing, and they do use that in order to heal themselves. Of course, there could be a lot more that they could be doing with it, but unfortunately, as it happens with every country, you kind of let modernization or Americanization come into society, and you kind of lose everything that it happened in the past, or all the knowledge you had. Same things happening in India, same things happening in Canada, everywhere really. Indigenous tribes are losing all their knowledge, unfortunately, or they're being destroyed just because everyone wants modern things, right? Which is fine. I do love modern things. I'm doing this video on an iPhone, but I do really appreciate the fact that there is this, nature is just there, and whatever ailment you have, it has a solution for it. You just have to look. You just have to go to the forest, or go to like the green area near you, and like be like, okay, so what do I need to fix? This. Okay, let me look for the plant that does that. It just makes me, I'm just astounded. I'm in astonishment. I'm just amazed by this. So this is partly a little bit of what I've been kind of learning about health, and just learning from the Balinese culture and noticing what they do. I'm not an expert. I've only been here 1.5 years now. And so the more I stay here, the more I learn about the culture, the more I realize how important health is to them. Unfortunately, a lot of expats come in and they kind of take advantage of that. They will use the Balinese techniques, and then they sell them for like such a high amount to expats, to foreigners, to tourists. So unfortunately that does happen, but I mean, that's just the way of life, I guess. So I'm really enjoying learning all of this information. So I wanted to share this with you. It's just a random video. I hope you enjoyed it. It probably will give you a little bit of a glimpse into what the culture is like. I do highly recommend that you come to Bali and experience it yourself, for sure. And if you do come, message me. Anyways, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye.